All right. Hey, how's it going? We're coming to you live from Freak Speak Studios.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Well, I think what we need to do today is we spent the past however many lives and talking about all the quality control and all the little aspects of it and why that's important and so on and so forth. But today, I think we can just kind of bring it all home with doc to doc. And what that means is we're big on evidence. We want to show people that it's more than just words. We actually created a video that kind of outlines all this in maybe 2 to 3 minutes, which I'll make sure to add to this so people can see it before we get off here. But just to kind of bring it all home, I guess the multi-million-dollar question to ask is why of all the things is quality so, like, why is it so important to you?
You got to really go back to my athletic career. I mean, from day one, my dad taught me that if you're going to do something, you give it your all. If not, don't get involved. That was kind of his main thing, other than you can't quit. You don't have to go out for something the next year, but you can't quit. And he used to tell me in life, you'll see later on why this is important. So my whole athletic career was driven on not cheating, doing the best. And again, to me, that was quality control, which then kind of geared toward business. But, as an athlete, knowing that you worked harder than your opponent, you didn't cheat. I didn't need to trash talk and do all the things that, people would do to cheat in a sport. And that's the same thing with manufacturing supplements. We don't cheat. We don't have quality. We have quality control, for that reason. When I was an athlete, win, lose, or draw a game, yeah, I felt bad for the team that we lost. But if I did my best, I was happy that I at least did everything I could do. And the same thing with, manufacturing supplements. When I go to bed at night, knowing that we did everything we could do, utilizing all the resources available to produce a quality product, I'll tell you what, man, that is such a good feeling in itself.
Yeah, well, and especially when you can be prosperous and know that, again, that's honest money, because it's honestly, we know it's easy to cheat. You
Yeah.
can make money really quick by lying. We've seen products that have been spiked and then it came out later after these companies made more money than people could even dream of. But
Yep.
then some of them have literally been driven out of business. And these guys, a couple of these guys are sitting in jail because they falsified their C of
Yeah.
A's, and they had some high level people that they paid off to say something was what it wasn't. Like I said, you guys found those designer stimulants,
Yep.
methamphetamine in one of those pre-workouts a few years ago that was super popular in the industry. And I guess, like you said, I guess it's just based on morals and principles and having a clear conscience.
Drive. I had someone here a couple of weeks ago, a brand that did some manufacturing, that we were manufacturing some things that they didn't have the capability. And when he saw our quality control lab, he said, "Why would you spend all this money on this stuff?" He goes, "We don't do it, man. That could be money in your pocket, more money, more money, more money." Again, going back when I was an athlete, when I was in junior high, I invested in my first weightlifting belt, and I still have it. It was the best. I had, $150 powerlifting belts, which back then, was very expensive. I always had the best gym shoes, the best spikes. I made sure my helmets, I didn't let them give me cheap ones. I wanted brand new ones. Why? Because these are tools to be able to do my job properly. Did they cost more money? Yes. When I went to college, and I demanded, a certain type of helmet, they didn't like it at first, but you know what? I performed. I showed them that having the proper gear, I was going to be able to better do my job. And that's kind of what I told this guy was, look, you came to us because we're the best. And the reason why we are the best is we have the tools. Now, is it expensive? Yeah, but it's an investment. If you're going to bodybuild and you aren't going to invest into your food and, equipment, you ain't going to make it. The same thing with being a manufacturer. If you aren't going to invest into your customers, you're not going to make it. Will you fly under the radar, make some money for a while? Yes. But will you get caught and will you be out of business? Yes. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, and I can only give you a handful of people that I know that are still in business when I started. And again, it's probably less than a handful, you know?
Yeah. And I tell you, I actually was just there last week and in the labs and looking at all that equipment. I just honestly have kind of the same thought sometimes of like, I mean, you look at all that stuff and it's not required.
Right.
But for whatever reason, you stepped out and said, this is worth multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not into the millions now with all of it added up, to give people products and the peace of mind. Like I said, I guess there's only so much things money can buy, and peace of mind is always is always worth its weight in gold, or if not more.
Well, it is. And, we want to show people that whatever's produced in this facility, and again, it could be FX Sports, All American Body, Farm, Chaotic Energy, Natural Freak, one of our brands, or it could even be one of our contract jobs. If it is produced here, guarantee it will be safe, it won't be contaminated with any drugs, and it will meet label claim. And that's what people are looking for. This day and age with all the cheap goods out there, I mean, from disposable toasters to, shoes lasting for 2 months, you name it, supplements, again, I mean, that's our job. We're supposed to police. We're supposed to do the best we can as humans. And people trust us. Our reputation is on the line. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to, like I am doc to doc, that I sleep like a baby. Yeah. I mean, Luke Brigno said one time, somebody asked him, why do you still look young? And he said, I don't got no skeletons in my closet. I mean, I haven't cheated anybody. I've worked hard for what I've got. And, that's what we do. We work hard. It's taken a long time.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's the biblical principle of building your house on sand versus solid foundation. And that's, if you're in for something for the long haul and you want it to show, that's how you have to do it.
Yeah. Well, and, business ethics is no longer taught. That used to be a course in college. And, again, I think that's just got to do with, like you said, biblical principles. Your word should be your word. Your yes is yes and no is no. And, a handshake. I mean, people are trusting brands, and most of them aren't worth the label that they printed on. I mean, that product, and people are being deceived, as we've talked about the last several weeks, protein spiking, where people are trusting they're buying protein to lose weight or to increase their athletic performance, and they're gaining weight and it isn't working because it's cut, or, all these junky products sold online that don't meet label claim or have some drug. I mean, I remember years ago when ephedra was very, very popular, and all of a sudden people were starting to have heart attacks. Well, it wasn't from the ephedra. It was from the fact people were spiking it with the drug, ephedra and HCl. And that was what was causing people to have heart attacks. I think there was even people who died. Therefore, FDA, they couldn't monitor the drug business in the world, so they just banned the herb,
Yeah. Well, and you've been a pro bodybuilder. As hard as it is, I just don't know why you wouldn't want the very best tools to get you the best possible results with what it takes, with the, just the pain and the dedication, commitment. I mean, again, that's what we're trying to give people, is the best of the best versions of these things. So you're, number one, you are getting the best. And two, you're not getting yourself cheated because you got this great deal on some online store of a brand you never heard of, but man, it was so cheap. And so the idea is that if it came out of that building, you can trust it.
And those Wilbur whiners who whine about practice and, oh, it's so hard. I get so sick and fed of people going, oh, contest prep, I can't wait till I eat. Oh, this is so hard. Or I hate going to practice. Those are the people who get into business and do the cheating because all they do is whine and want to take the shortcut. Man, I used to be excited to go to practice. You could ask any one of my coaches in my whole career, did I always give my best in practice? Yeah, practice to me was like a game. I was going there to work on my skills and to help my teammates, whether it was individual, training in the gym. There was no off season when it came to bodybuilding or powerlifting. The same thing with football. Okay. The season was over. Now it's time to build, or whatever my sport was. But again, people who look for shortcuts, look for the easy way out. We see that in life, whether it's athletics or business. And those are the people that cheat because they don't care. It's only about the bottom line, about making a dollar. Now, do we all have to make a living? Absolutely. But I want to make my dollar honestly and know that when we make it, that we've done everything we could to earn that honestly, ethically. And as you know, over the years, we've changed things as technology. We've learned, like creatine. I mean, when I introduced creatine to the marketplace, that was the best of the best. But when we found out it had flaws, we didn't continue to sell it, especially when China started dumping it to, just make more money. No, we went on to make something more expensive that actually fixed all the issues. So we're continually upgrading when we learn new technologies or new techniques.
Right. Well, and going back to the thing, talking about something being hard, honestly, that's what makes it great, because otherwise everyone would do it. Everyone would look like Mr. Olympia and have this amazing body if it was that easy. It's the few that were willing to pay the price and pay the money and invest the time that are the ones that have that look that everyone's so jealous about, because they ultimately know how hard it is. They're looking for that magic shortcut or pill or steroid, whatever the case, to get that body. And little do they know, they're just fooling themselves. And that's what happens when you buy this cheap junk that you think you're using the equivalent of a top name brand. And guess what? You're just fooling yourself in your wallet. That's all there is to it.
There's a reason why things are sold at the dollar store. And again, I like the dollar store. I like a deal like anybody else.
Sure.
But I would never buy meat. I would never buy supplements, or I would never buy some foreign Mexican brand of something on the shelf. But I know that the way the dollar store works, when a soap, they have an excess, and instead of throwing it out, they're going to sell it to the dollar store and at least get 25 cents on the dollar. So again, you can get some good deals, but be aware that they do sell expired canned goods and dented canned goods. You don't buy dented canned goods. You don't buy expired canned goods, so there are some do's and don'ts. But, again, when it comes to your health, your body, you cannot go over to Radio Shack, as I used to say, and, get a new part. I mean, you mess up your liver and kidneys, you're done, man. Okay. Somebody will say, oh yeah, well, you can get a liver transplant. Well, I don't want to do that. I mean, I'm not a car where I can just put a new carburetor in or change the oil filter. I mean, we got to take care of what we got.
Yep, I agree with that. Well, this is probably actually a good point to go ahead and drop off, because talk is cheap, right? And I want to show
doc to doc,
see with their own eyes the video. So I'm going to cue that up at this point and let everybody again see with their own eyes what we're talking about. You can see the level of quality and how we do it. And then if anyone else has a video like that, compare it. I mean, I don't call some other manufacturers that make whatever product. See if they do some of this stuff. I mean, I just think that's the best way to do it, right? We could talk all day about it, but see for yourself.
All right, sounds good.
All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off on this part and cue up the video right now. Here we go.
A premium brand doesn't happen by accident. From dock to dock, we own our manufacturing process. At EFX Sports, we are not a premium brand by what we say. We are a premium brand by what we do. So all of EFX Sports products are manufactured here at All American Pharmaceutical. First of all, we are governed by the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, the USDA. But that's not why we do what we do here. We do what we do here for you, the consumer. We proudly take on that responsibility. From those raw materials coming into our dock, testing every single barrel, not randomly selecting some, not once I approve that vendor, he's good to go. We test every batch, every time, no exceptions. I'm gonna test it for purity. I'm gonna test it for microbial, heavy metals, steroid screens, things that are above and beyond what the government requires. But it doesn't stop there. Every part of in-process has some testing to verify, to make sure that we've done it correctly.
The process you see behind me is what we do here every day. Before we even bottle anything, we make sure that our equipment is completely sanitized. Nothing goes into the bottle until that is made sure of.
Get to the finished product. I'm not done yet. I'm going to retest everything at the very end before I release it and ship it to you We're going to make sure that that bottle meets label claim and is completely safe so that you, the consumer, as you buy a product, you know what you're getting. That's why you can trust EFX Sports.
We are monitoring the raw materials from the start to the intermediates when they're blended, all the way to the final products. We want to make sure for ourselves that we meet up to the EFX Sports and All-American Pharmaceutical brand identity.
At EFX Sports, each product has had over 100 different tests performed.
We are proud of all of this testing. We are proud of all of the things that we are doing to provide for our customers.
And you say, Dr. Jeff, why do you do all that? As I said, I like to sleep well at night, and guess what? I sleep like a baby.